Hey everyone, I'm here to do an update on what I talked about a day or so ago, and that is the signing of Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff to TNA. Now I'm reading off a wrestling website right here. There are a few more details have come up. According to Bubba the Love Sponge, who is the host of the Bubba the Love of the radio show by the same name, he states, and this will interest everybody, he states that Hogan is the boss, period. That Hogan and Bischoff will run the show. Okay? Basically, that's what he's saying about Hulk Hogan's role in TNA. Hogan and Bischoff are going to run things. And that he's the boss, no work. And that he wouldn't go back to be only to be the work boss, but he is the boss, period. Now, someone asked him on his Twitter account, who follows Bubba, they asked Bubba, what does he mean by Hulk Hogan being the boss? Well, basically, he says that Hogan is the booker, period, and that he saw it in his contract. So in other words, Hogan is the booker, and Eric Bischoff, from what I read somewhere, is going to be one of the head writers, so basically one of the head people of the creative team. He also states that Hogan and Eric will not make the same mistakes they made at WCW. In other words, what he's saying is that Hogan and Bischoff are not going to do what they did back, when they were running WCW. They won't, be pushing the older stars. Because like I said in my video when I talked about this, in my first video, I believe Dixie Carter has made it clear to Hulk Hogan that the youth movement comes first. Yeah, you can go out there, maybe have a few matches, but the youth movement is first. That means you don't book yourself. Basically, I think the deal is, he could be the booker, but if he books himself in a situation to where he becomes champion and holds on to the title for a very long time, it's not going to work out. But these are the details that came off the Twitter account, or the Twitter page, of Bubba the Love Sponge. Now, I don't know if they are true or not, but apparently, if he said he saw it in the contract, then maybe they are. So, but it is going to get interesting because a lot of people have talked about on YouTube, Daily Motion, and other wrestling sites as well, that the Hogan deal, business-wise, is good for TNA, but otherwise could be bad. And the bad part is exactly what I'm talking about. Some people will probably feel when they hear this, or if they have not already reported it, that Hogan becoming the booker, if you will, and Eric, I guess, becoming part of the head of creative, becoming one of the head people, head personas of the creative team, if you will, that's going to kill TNA. But according to what he says, they won't make the same mistakes. I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest, okay? Let's be honest. Bischoff and Hogan have made mistakes in WCW, no doubt about it. WCW had a lot of young guys to break out and make champions. The only good one that they did at that time was Goldberg. Goldberg was younger than Hogan, had momentum. Bischoff saw that. But he had someone else besides Hogan as the booker, Kevin Nash. And Kevin Nash, as we know, didn't want Goldberg to surpass him. So what did Kevin do? He booked himself to become champion. Now, like I said, I know that worries a lot of people that Hogan might do the same thing. But if you remember the XWF promotion, if you remember that promotion, even though Hogan was on there just a couple of times and only had, I think, 1 or 2 matches, it was mostly about the young athletes. That's right, mostly about the young athletes. You get what I'm saying? What I'm saying is that Bischoff and Hogan learned from the mistakes. That's what he's saying here. This is what Bubba the Love Sponge is saying. And that basically they're going to follow through on what Dixie Carter is doing. So I'm thinking, like I said in my previous video, that I believe Dixie Carter probably sat down with Hogan and Bischoff and said, hey, look, guys, having you guys come on board is a great thing, but here's the stipulation of the contract. Hogan, you can be the booker. We'll make you the booker, or one of the bookers, but basically but on one agreement. Basically, he said, saying on the agreement, on the deal, that you do not book yourself or anybody you're close with to become champions and literally ruin TNA. That's, I think, what Dixie Carter probably sat down with them and said, hey, look, you guys coming on board is a good thing, and you, Eric, becoming one of the head people of the creative team is good. Hogan, you becoming one of the bookers is good, or becoming the head booker is good. But it will only work if you book the right way, if you help with the youth movement. And I believe after what Hogan has gone through personally outside of the ring, and and Eric being one of his friends has seen, despite how you think about them both, I'm trying to believe this, that they are going to finally push the younger athletes. Because let's not forget, Hogan came out on Monday Night Raw 2-3 years ago during the 15th anniversary show. And despite the fact that it could have been maybe a worked promo or something, whatever, he basically put over the younger guys. That's what he did. So I'm guessing, it's just my opinion, but I'm guessing that's what Hogan has agreed to. That the agreement is he could be the head booker, Eric could be head of creative team, but on the agreement that they don't book themselves and push themselves into the spotlight. On the agreement that Hogan doesn't do what he did in WCW, doesn't allow, friends close to him, basically pushes who he feels has the ability to be like the next Hulk Hogan, or be the next Sting, or the next Macho Man, or whatever. Build, book, and push those who you feel have earned the opportunity. And I think that's what's going to happen. I believe that. Because, come on, let's be honest. People may say Dixie Carter may not know what she's doing. Maybe she doesn't. But she knows business. And let's not forget, everybody's talked about the fact that Dixie Carter is behind the youth movement. So, I would not be surprised if Dixie Carter has sat down and told Hogan this when she signed them, told Hogan and Bischoff this when she brought him aboard. You're going to be a part of this team. You got to work with this team. You got to be a part of. You got to work with this team. You got to be in favor of the youth movement. You got to help us push these young stars and not push yourselves ahead of them. So, but anyway, that's what I read off but that's off of the Bubba the Love Sponge's Twitter page. And if you want to look that up, go ahead. And that's all I could say on this updated video of Hogan and Bischoff signing with TNA. And I'll talk to you all later.